Welcome to Rack of the Week number 205. As usual, I want to give a call out to my newest supporters on Patreon and YouTube. Welcome to Jindra and Vuxi Loto. And you can see all of my supporters' names on the screen. That is one of the perks for the student level. I also want to say thank you to everyone who has purchased some items of my new 14-1 brand straight pool logo gear. It seems that the outerwear is the most popular, pullovers and the jacket and the hoodie and of course the coffee mug. So thank you for that. And I also turned on a feature on my website for leaving reviews. So if you made a purchase, you can go to that item on the website. At the bottom of the page, there's a review button. This week, we are going back to Nineball. This is the 2024 World Pool Championships that was held in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah. The first place prize was $250,000. So everyone was watching this. The finals were between Fedor, Gorst, and Eklent, Kaci. I'm using some images and video clips from that match by Matchroom under terms of fair use. Matchroom events are now available to be watched live and recorded matches on the brand new WNT TV. And the 2025 tournament scene is about to kick off, so that's going to be great. If you remember, in Rack of the Week 203, I looked at a 9-ball match between Fedor, Gorst, and Shane Van Boening. And I mentioned that games are won by the thinnest of margins. Shane almost came back in that match, and this week it's Eklent Kaci who almost came back. He was behind the entire match and almost came back. He actually got to the hill first, and this was a long race to 15. First of all, don't you think this is the greenest arena you have ever seen? I also mentioned during the straight pool match finals between Max Lechner and Mario He that Max Lechner played a good enough tournament to win the finals. And you could even claim that he had a better tournament when you're looking at the overall matches. I want to take a look at the same thing here regarding Fedor, Gorst, and Eklent Kaci. But listen to announcer Carl Boys.
It's a shame that there's got to be a loser, because what a match we've had here. Race to 15.
It is a shame that one of them has to win, because they both played excellent and they both deserved to win the tournament. Take a look at these stats, though. Look on the right, you see the matches that Fedor, Gorst, and Eklent Kaci played during the entire tournament. Take a look at Gorst. He lost his opening match in the preliminary round 1, and then he lost his opening match in the round 2, the beginning of round 2. Then he won 5 in a row to reach the finals and won by just 15-14. Look at the totals. Fedor, Gorst won 84 matches and won 84 games rather, and lost 76 games during the course of the tournament. His match record is 6 wins and 2 losses for a 53.5% game winning record. Let's compare that to Eklent Kaci. No losses the entire tournament. He only lost the final match, and by 1 game. He won 91 games and only lost 44. That is an incredibly large win margin, 7-1 match record, and 67% winning record. This is my point, only that Eklent Kaci played well enough to win the tournament. He's a top-tier player above 832 Fargo. It is unfortunate that only one of them gets to win. Take a look at the finals on the left side of your screen. I show the scores as it progressed throughout the match, and you can see the margin of victory. For example, Gorst won 3 games in a row. So anytime one player wins a set of games, I've marked it to the sides. So Gorst won 3 games in a row, then Kaci won 1 game, then Gorst won 2 games, Kaci won 1, and so on. So you can see that Gorst won multiple games in a row 5 times, and Eklent Kaci won more than 1 game in a row 2 times. But it's this 5 that I find the most impressive. Eklent Kaci was behind the entire match, and he was behind 13-9 in a race to 15. We're thinking it's pretty much over. I mean, players come back from large deficits sometimes, but it looked like pretty slim margin there. Eklent won 3 games in a row at this point, and then the score was 13-12. And then Eklent made the kick shot, and I'm going to show it to you in a moment. I know which one you know which one I'm talking about, where he kicked in the 9-ball. Then broke and ran another game to get to the hill first. During the final game, Fedor, Gorst, and Eklent Kaci were both faced with very similar shots. You can see Fedor's on the screen. It's a very difficult shot, so they have a choice between going offensive or defensive. These top players are going to more often choose the offensive route, usually because they want to stay at the table and they have the skills to execute the difficult shot and run out. That's how you stay in control of the table. That's how you win 9-ball. It's about control of the table. If you play safe, you never know what's going to happen when your opponent kicks or jumps at the ball. That said, look at this shot. Fedor has a cut shot into the upper left corner, and he can follow the cue ball past the 9 to this rail and off to give himself an angle on the 4 to come back for the 5. Jeremy Jones, the announcer, even mentioned that he was surprised that Fedor played safe here. This looks like one of those clear offensive opportunities. Perhaps it looked a little bit too thin, and Fedor didn't think he could hold the cue ball over here. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Regardless, this is his safety shot. Now, that's a clear safety. He's not trying to pocket the ball. But we can also, I think, safely say that that's a failed safety because he sold out a shot to Eklent. But even if he played the speed more as he intended, which would be to land the 2-ball on the rail and bring the cue ball farther over here, thereby not leaving a shot, Eklent can hit the ball. He's going to have some type of return safety from this position. We've often seen players from this position back cut the 2-ball right onto the rail at the same time that they bring the cue ball 2 rails over here and hide behind this ball. Who knows what could have happened from there? But it's very surprising to me that Fedor left this shot at hill. So now we're coming to the final shot. Eklent has a thin cut, but it has natural position to come over to the 3, and I'm sure that he's trying to come past the 3. Depending on where the cue ball stops, he's going to have a shot into one of these upper corners. Let's take a look at the result of the shot. When the cue ball comes down, he misplays it just a little bit, and it catches the 3-ball and leaves him with this shot. In this instance, Eklent has a similar choice of either going offensive or defensive. We're going to take a look at it in a second on my table. I don't like the offensive shot because the position is nowhere near as natural. And as you know, Eklent decides to play safe from this position. He needs to come behind the 6, 7, or the 4. And just for those of you who haven't seen it, he doesn't get enough spin on this cue ball, and he ends up scratching. And that sells out a somewhat routine run out for Fedor. And of course, Fedor runs out and wins the match. Let's take a look at this shot, though, on the table.
I've got the ball positions marked with my iCats projector system. There's a link in the description of that. You can save $50 with discount code SSOP. Anyway, this is the shot Eklent's facing. He's got to make a choice between offense and defense. So just for argument's sake, I want to demonstrate the offensive shot and why I think he might not have done it. And it's a thin cut shot into the upper corner pocket. You've got to play position for the 4-ball. If you can get good position, get some kind of angle on the 4, it's easy to get on the 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9 are pretty easy and routine. But let me see if I can make this 3-ball shot. That's a really good position on the 4. That's a good angle. Shooting that shot, you're likely to come over farther and end up straight, which is going to make it difficult to get from the 4 to the 5. It's virtually a masse shot to get the cue ball to draw and not hit the 9-ball and preserve an angle. If Eklent was able to pocket the ball and get this shot, obviously he's a favorite to win the game from there. But I didn't make that shot on the first try. That's a tough shot. So in this case, I agree that Eklent made the right decision to play safe. The drawback with playing safe here is you're hitting the 3-ball very thin, and so it's not going to travel very far. Then you're playing the cue ball behind these balls. Even if you're successful, you're leaving a jump shot to the best jumper in the game. At least you're not selling out directly. So I think the safety is the correct choice. The drawback with this is that if you don't get the speed control right, the cue ball lands either here or here, you're leaving a direct shot. So there's that risk. What we usually do when we play safe, we make a decision. We're either going to play safe with the cue ball or with the 3-ball. I just want to point out in this example that there isn't also an option to play safe with the 3-ball. Whenever you're playing safe in rotation games, the best location for the object ball is the center of the short rail. And then, if possible, center of the short rail for the cue ball. If you get, the closer either of those balls are to those positions, the better the safety that you have. So from this position, there is a safe option to shoot the 3-ball past the 4 to the center of the head rail. That's not bad. That's a containing safety, and that's a better safety than what Fedor left Eklent before this position. Now, maybe a better player than me can play the speed control and direction just right to get the cue ball behind the 9. Then you really got a good safety. That's asking a lot. Like I said, you're going to want to play the object ball more than the cue ball in this example. If you get the hook, but you don't get the distance right, your opponent still has a jump shot. So just looking at the variables involved with the shot, now let's take a look at the shot that Eklent chose. We're going to take a look at it on the screen in a moment. So if I can judge by the results, Eklent was trying to go 1 rail and then down to the bottom rail here behind the 6-7. Perfectly reasonable. And of course he misplayed in the scratch. I'm going to suggest that there's a better way to play this. I'm going to suggest that it's better to go 2 rails and then come up behind these balls. I think it's a bigger target and easier to get in there. And you also have a chance of getting the cue ball closer to these balls, which is going to prohibit the jump shot as a return. If you're playing off the short rail this way and you get the speed control a little bit harder, you can end up over here behind the 5. So you have another chance of getting the safety. So that's going to look something like this. No jump shot. Because I'm playing off the rail in behind these balls, I just feel like you have more control over it. Notice where the 3-ball went. It's near the pocket. That's really not going to be good if you do leave the jump shot. So like I said, we want to focus on 1 ball. Don't try to play safe with both. But if we can shoot the 3-ball towards the center of the top rail with the same result, so I'm hitting it a little bit thinner. I'm striking down on the cue ball a little bit more. So this time, the cue ball did not go in the path I was intending, but it did, like I mentioned, it came over and got behind the 5, and there's no shot. There is a jump shot, however. So it seems to me that it's not going to be possible to get the cue ball all the way up to the short rail and control the cue ball. So we want to focus on the cue ball. So that's a pretty high percentage path. And I think it's better than the 1 rail. And I'm going to give you a really good example of why that's the case. Let's take a look on the computer.
Here's an example of the short angle 3-cushion billiard shot that I was talking about. This is a very similar shot in both cases. The player is shooting the yellow ball off the left side of the cue ball. It's going to then hit 1 rail, 2 rails, and the 3rd rail, and come back and hit the 3rd ball. On the bottom of your screen, same thing. 1 side rail, long rail, short rail, long rail, and then here. I believe that this is what Fedor was trying to do. I think he was just trying to go 2 rails up behind the 6 and the 7. You could also play it 3 rails behind this 4. But this is an example of the short angle shot that I'm talking about. If you play 3-cushion billiards, you're going to become very familiar with all the subtleties that have to do with this type of shot How much topspin do you need to use? How much side spin do you need to use? How thin do you need to hit the object ball? You become very adept at gauging that. Look at the difference. Let's say this is a pool table and you're playing safe behind this ball. Okay? The ball on the bottom is much farther from the bottom rail than the one on the top. Perhaps of the one on the top, you're just going to play 2 rails to get in behind it. Whereas in the bottom, you're going to play 3 rails to get in behind that ball. But if you can get in tight behind that ball or close behind that ball, you're blocking a large portion of the table for your safety. This is just one reason why players who want to excel at 9-ball and 10-ball need to play 3-cushion billiards. There are more. Regardless, what a fantastic tournament, match, and final game. It was exciting right up to the end. Congratulations to Fedor Gorst for winning that huge prize. I hope we see another prize like that this year and more to come as Matchroom continues to build the sport. Congratulations to Eklent Kaci. You played a fantastic tournament. I, for one, am a huge fan and looking forward to seeing you play the Matchroom events in the 2025 season, which is coming up right now. Head on over to Shortstop on Pool. Check out the 14-1 gear. Thank you for watching. Next week, we go back to straight pool, and I'll see you next week on Rack of the Week. Bye now.